The Mississippi Delta, we believe, has been neglected. We do not have a local census office in the Mississippi Delta, and that's where most of all of the hard-to-count counties are. And we think that's very unfair to the 2nd Congressional District. Our office is out of DeSoto County, and so we don't believe that we have fair representation there, and we wanted to make sure that was known because we really truly want our people counted. Now, we've been doing this work for the last year and a half in terms of local community-based organizations trying to help assist in the partnership piece with the Census Bureau. However, we experienced where a lot of the people in our communities did not receive questionnaires. And that is what prompted a lot of the attention that we're bringing now to this process. And we want to be an advocate to see what can we do to help assist in making sure that we get an accurate count in the 2nd Congressional District. A lot of the questionnaires did not go out. A lot of people did not receive the questionnaires. We did a lot of things in the community to get the community hyped up through our school systems, every means of media we could use, but the people just didn't get the questionnaires. And we don't know where the ball was dropped, but it was definitely dropped.
A lot of money's at risk.
A lot of money's at risk, and Tunica is unique because we have been put on the list for one of the hardest to count areas, so we certainly want to make sure we don't make that list again this year.
Our concern is getting a complete count in the Latino and the other immigrant communities in Mississippi. 10 years ago, when our organization formed, the census announced that they had counted some 37,000 Latinos in Mississippi. And we were shocked at those numbers because all of the organizations, unions, and community groups, and various Hispanic ministries of various religious denominations, when we counted up our membership, it was clear that there were really over 100,000 just in the membership that the various organizations had. So we decided very early on to participate in the census as a community partner, as we have since last year. And we have been reaching out to the Latino community and making them aware of the need for the census. And we have gone throughout the state. We have organizers statewide and have been doing that. Our concerns today are that there's not enough Spanish-speaking people that can communicate with the Spanish-speaking communities that are spread throughout Mississippi. They're not just on the Gulf Coast, or they're not just in Scott County, but Latinos have settled everywhere and are working hard to support their families and also to contribute to the community that they're in.
Okay, and after this meeting, some of your questions have been answered. What are your feelings?
We've had a lot of discussion about a lot of issues and shortcomings of the way the census has been conducted, but I think that Dr. Groves is very, very interested in trying to correct the things that are correctable at this time and then building for a better census in 2020.
Well, we are in the middle of the second half of the 2010 census, and this is the phase where for all of those people in households where we didn't receive a form, we haven't received their answers to our question, we're going out and visiting. And this is a very critical phase throughout the nation. And I'm here today because these groups, caring about a good count in Mississippi, and actually in Louisiana and Texas too, had information about problems that they're seeing in the field. I want to know about those problems so that we can clean them up as best we can and that we learn from their kind of on-the-ground knowledge of what's happening. There are three important reasons why everybody needs to get counted in the 2010 census. The first reason is the original constitutional reason, and that is we will change the membership of the House of Representatives in Washington based on these counts. Some states will get more representatives, some states will lose. So political power is at stake. That's the first reason. The second reason is over $400 billion a year of taxpayer money goes back to localities. These are neighborhoods, cities, counties, states, based on the counts. So if you're not counted, if you're not included, your family, your neighborhood, your city, your state is cheated of your fair share. Then the final reason is really important too. Every 10 years with the census, we repaint the portrait of the country. and it begins a discussion about what we've become. This is going to happen starting in 2011. If you want your rightful place in that new portrait of the country, you got to get counted, and we want to count you. So all of those reasons make this a really important event, even though it isn't a sexy thing that we do every 10 years. It's not, it doesn't make a lot of news, but it's really important to the country.
Are census offices in Mississippi going to be doing anything differently because of this meeting?
We've talked about a bunch of great ideas, making sure that we have folks working in areas that are trusted by the folks who live in the areas, using local partners as we did in the first half of the census to inform us how things are going and using them as assistants to what we're doing. So yeah, we got some great ideas today.
Statistically,
You have some really great groups in Mississippi devoting tons of hours to make sure we do a good census in Mississippi. You should be proud.
as it stands now, Mississippi, how does it compare to the rest of the nation as far as numbers are concerned? Do you know that?
The only numbers we have now are the numbers based on the mail-out, mail-back portion. And Mississippi is a little low relative to the whole country. It's a little bit in better shape than it was in 2000 relative to the other country. There are pockets of really high response rates in Mississippi and pockets of real low response rates. This is true in many states, by the way. We're now we're working disproportionately in those areas that didn't mail back at high rates. That's where we're going. We're going to knock on every door in Mississippi where we didn't get a form returned. Some of the Delta counties we're concentrating on. There are counties on the Gulf Coast that have different problems that we're working on. So there are counties all over Mississippi that we're working in. You know, we have nationally over 600,000 people working for us now, knocking on doors throughout the country. And there's a lot of work going on, and it's important work. Well, we've already made some agreements. We're very interested in learning from local groups whether we have missed areas, and so we're getting areas where they think we don't have houses on our list. That's very important to clean up really early. So that's going to happen because of this meeting. We have the need in some areas, despite the fact we try to hire locally, sometimes we can't hire as locally as we need to hire, and we have the ability to seek assistance from local neighborhoods, and we got some good feedback on that. We'll probably move on that pretty quickly.
Next, one quick question though. I know we're going to move into another phase of census, which is redistricting. Can you talk a little bit about how the census connects to protecting voting rights?
Okay, this is one thing that I have no knowledge of and no responsibility for. This is really important for the country too. The Census Bureau is a nonpartisan organization. Even though the census counts determine the reapportionment and then inform the redistricting, we have nothing to do with this. Our job is to count everyone once and only once and in the right place. That's all we do. And then we give back the information to the people freely. That's our job. The states handle redistricting. We actually do calculate the reapportionment counts, but that's the end of it. We are a non-political organization. All of our enumerators go through several ways of screening with regard to any criminal background. First, they have to report any prior criminal history and sign an oath that that's the truth. Secondly, their name, age, gender, and social security numbers submitted to the FBI database for checks. And then finally, on their first day, their fingerprints are taken and their fingerprints are submitted. The fingerprint check is a new step we've done in 2010 to really make sure that the American public is as safe as possible. Unfortunately, when you have 600,000 people out there, bad things happen. We've had over 100 incidents where our enumerators have been assaulted and carjacked and kicked and bitten and all sorts of things. We've had 7 deaths among our enumerators. There is indeed one of our enumerators who's now been terminated, accused of raping a woman in Indiana. We have tightened up our security, our screening procedures. Every chance we see any weakness in what we're doing, we've tightened up. So we've just tightened up recently even harder to make sure that the American public is as safe as possible, and we try to train our interviewers to stay as safe as they can when they visit houses. The phase that we're in now is the easiest for the American public to be part of. If you didn't get a chance to fill out a census form and mail it back, all you have to do is when you get a knock on the door and you see someone at the door with a census badge, a white badge around their neck, carrying a black briefcase with a big census logo, all you have to do is to say, yes, I'll cooperate with you and answer the questions. It'll take you only like 5 or 10 minutes. You're through, you're counted, you're part of the 2010 census. You know, you've done your civic duty. That's all you have to do.
Today the meeting was important to me because it gave us an opportunity to come together with the people who are making the decisions. The director was willing to come in and answer questions from the organizations that were represented at the table. We had there were a gamut of concerns. I think he did spend time in trying to at least address that. And I think he was pretty honest when he didn't know to say, I don't know, and I'll come back and find out. For me, I also recognize that the issues that we were hearing in the state office of the NAACP in terms of people not receiving census forms was not just isolated to just one region of the state, but to encompass the entire state and to include Louisiana and the Gulf Coast region. So we raised some legitimate concerns, according to the director. We got pretty much a response from him saying that he would look into it, and also I think what was real important for me was the fact that he too understands how important it is to include community-based organizations in moving forward in the next 2020 census. We're going to make sure that we're at the table during the development of those policies and protocols.